Welcome back to the channel. Today I have to pick up an auction car that I won, and it's winter time and I normally don't pick up auction cars in the winter. I have everything shipped to me. It's not worth driving my truck in the salt and risking, an accident in the snow. But it's down south, well, at least North Carolina, so it should be a little bit warmer down there. And I do have some stuff I wanted to donate because I'm in North Carolina. I might as well donate it to the Hurricane Helene victims because they could use a little help. If I donate it up here, it's not going to make its way down there. So there's a drop-off location not far from where I'm going. Figure I might as well help them out and clean out my closet from stuff that doesn't fit me anymore because, well, put on a couple pounds. So if there's any teenage boys, stuff will probably fit you. Because I was the size of a teenage boy well into my 20s. Now, just a fat teenage boy with no hair.
3 days later.
We all made it back to Illinois, the truck, the trailer, and the car without incident, just the way I like it. So why did I go all the way to North Carolina to pick up a 2004 Pontiac Grand Am GT? Well, down there they don't have quite as much rust as we do, so it was worth it. Not to mention, the car was cheap. So I drove all the way down there to get some nice rust-free parts and a, well, high-mile car. Why'd you buy such a high-mile car? Well, in addition to needing parts and getting it cheap, I love nothing more than to throw it in the face of all the people that say these cars don't last. Because apparently, if your car doesn't last, it's you, not the car. Or it's a Ford, I don't know, take your pick. But if you take care of a Grand Am, it will last to, well, I don't know, at least 348,000 miles because that's how many this has on it. So let's get it off the trailer and take a better look at it and see what we're gonna do with it. I did hear a dinging when I opened the door to make sure the keys were in it, so I think we even have a charged battery. We'll see if it's got any gas in it, but first we gotta fill up some flat tires. They're not all the way flat. They're just kind of flat at the bottom, so we'll see if we'll hold air and get it off the trailer. I did switch trucks because your favorite little rebuilding princess here can't be bothered with driving a plain Jane Silverado across the country. Now, for that I need the Denali, so I took the GMC, and then when I got back here I just switched them so the GMC could go sit in its corner until the summertime. But looks like while it was sitting, I also have to fill out the tire on the trailer, so we're gonna have to check that out as well as the rest of them, and maybe we'll have to fix the tire. Guess we'll start with this one. 2 PSI is probably not what's recommended. I'll have to look far. I'd have to say that might be it. That is not repairable. And it is bubbling, so there we go. We got our leak. It's like a little piece of wire. It was almost time for tires anyway. Since it's not repairable, I believe, yep, I got these from Discount Tires, so I think it cost me like less than 20 bucks. I get a new tire. Mounted and balanced and ready to go on. I got these when I was in Florida one time because I had 2 flats and I was out of spares. Hopefully this at least lasts long enough for me to do what I need to do. Let's see. 2 is the high. That one's 5. Getting better. .32, and that'll be good enough. Let's get that front one. Ooh, I got a chromie. Yes, I'm that old. Nitrogen, NO2. Well, we're not filling it with nitrogen. Well, at least not completely. This will be a nitrogen mix. I didn't even check to see what it was. It's 12 now, so. We'll just fill it up so it's not flat on the bottom anymore. Somebody cracked a curb. That'll happen with a few miles in the car. But everything else on the car looks original. Let's see, it's been painted or anything like that. All right, let's see if we can get it started. I did stick my head in there to see if I had a key, which is pretty good practice because a lot of auctions used to take the keys out of the cars and some still do. But now they strap them to the steering column. And it is dinging, so I know I got some battery, but I don't know if I'll need this. See if it starts. Amazing. It does start, so I don't need my little jumper. Kind of wanted to use it, but if you need one because your auction car is dead, link is in the description. See how many miles we got on this thing. 348,407. You got a check engine light, but hey, what are you gonna complain about? And we got a full tank of fuel. Wow. And we have no washer fluid. I'll take the fuel, it costs more. Let's see. It goes in reverse. Goes in drive, and we got a brake pedal, so I think it's ready to try to take off the trailer. Of course, I just shut it off. I'm gonna start again. Yep, no problem. All right, let's get it off the trailer so that you guys can see what you came here to see. All right, we got a good battery and a full tank of gas. Let's really push our luck and see if we got a window regulator that won't break the first time we use it. It went down, but that's usually not the problem you have. Oh, lack of power steering. So I guess the first thing we need to do is figure out our power steering issue. This little bottle of power steering fluid in the back seat might be a clue as to what's going on. The only question is going to be, is it going to stay in there long enough to do anything, or is it just going to come right out the bottom? It's a little dirty in there, but it's thirsty. I hope this is power steering fluid. That's something. A whiny power steering pump. Coming out the bottom. Make sure I'm not leaking like the Exxon Valdez under there. Now we got something. Now we got an ABS light since we turned the wheels. It's a Grand Am, it's not complete without it. All right. That should be enough to get us around the block. Take it for a little ride, make sure that the transmission shifts like it should and everything else is good before we go taking anything apart on this thing. You know, every time I mention the Exxon Valdez, I know that a lot of my older viewers will know what I'm talking about, but I have to imagine that Google's AI is scratching its head when everybody starts randomly searching Exxon Valdez. It was a big container ship or oil cargo ship that ran aground and leaked a bunch of oil or hit an iceberg or something. I don't remember. That was a long time ago, but it was big news back when I was younger. So let's go for a ride. Seatbelt on for safety.
A few moments later.
Still smokes the tires at 348,000 miles, at least if they happen to be wet and cold and you only want to spin one. Well, I know the internet super sleuths are probably a little upset that I didn't take you on a ride and you couldn't figure out where my house was, but that's not a big secret. It's actually on my website. Link's down below if you want to go check it out. And while you're there figuring out where I live, because it's not a secret, go ahead and pick up some merch. Got some t-shirts and some coasters left, so I'll look forward to some orders there. And also, then you'll know where I live, or used to live. Clearly, if I lived there, I wouldn't be sharing it. It's been a while since we played everyone's favorite game, What's in My Console, and I think we're gonna do one better. We're gonna play What's in My Car, for a couple reasons. One, I wanna over-deliver, and two, I don't think there's anything in the console anymore. I think it's all in the back seat. There's a plastic bag back there. So, we got our bottle of power steering fluid, and sure enough, there's nothing in the console. Let's see what we got in our glove box. We have an owner's manual, and the supplement. Woo! Extra chromey, matches our other one. A couple pens. That's it in here. Registration came from Gardner, North Carolina. Garner, North Carolina. Dyslexic, come and break. Got a charger, and must have had a bad regulator, and the auction taped it up. So we're not getting in that door. At least not without some surgery. But I don't feel like moving the camera, so I'll spend a little time. There we go. Got our floor mats back here. Remote control for a Kenwood stereo. Of course, we got a factory one in there now. Some glasses. I think they're me. Can't see anything, but safety experts rejoice. Got some brand spanking new gloves. A whole package of them. And then some Rogue ones too. All right. Need some new mittens. Got a wheel lock. Another wheel lock. A nickel. Carbon monoxide detector. Dark spot indicates danger. Danger, Will Robinson.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
Passive carbon monoxide detector. So do not eat? No. That looks like it. The rest is garbage. Headlight bulb? Might be good. We'll save it. Some more glasses. Are these more me? Can't see out of these either. All right. Got some stuff in the trunk, so let's find our way into that. We got zip ties. We can fix this. We can put this car back together now. We got everything we need. Wait a minute. Before we go any further into the trunk, let's check underneath the back seat. With this many miles, we might find some cold hard cash under here. Unless it's the kind of car that never had passengers back here, in which case we won't find anything. A couple of pennies, and some water, probably from the window when it was down. Darn. I was really hoping I could retire out of this back seat. All right, let's move on to the trunk. It's probably gonna take some surgery to get that open. Step one, try it the easy way. It clicks. Don't know that it opens. All right, step two. And I don't want to break the key off in there, so our seat is actually missing on that side. So we'll fold the other one down, we'll go in there and undo the latch from the inside, and then it should open. And if we're lucky, I won't shatter the back glass. No guarantees on that though. Since the trunk is folded up, I can reach in there and grab that lever that releases the back of our seat. There's one half of it's already out, and the other half is bent. We're gonna have to get a tool for that. There's the back of the seat here. And yes, that is the OEM tool for that application. taillight sockets. I just pulled the 2 bolts that were holding the latch to the deck lid out, and the latch stays on the striker. Unfortunately, the wiring harness for that latch comes from the deck lid, so we have to unplug that or tear some things apart. But since I didn't bring a screwdriver and wearing gloves doesn't allow me to disconnect the electrical connector, I just thought I'd give the little child release lever a try, and it disconnected the latch from the striker, no problem, because there's no stress on that latch anymore. Ooh, we're pretty close to that back window, so we don't want to break it. Luckily, I have my back window saving deck lid adjusting tool. Just move this out of the way a little bit. There we go. Might have to adjust the other side now. We don't have to, but any excuse to use my tools and justify my cost. Do you stop? Now it's going to hit in the middle of the window. Apparently this deck lid just has it out for this back window. And yes, I do come by all this with experience of breaking back windows, in case you were wondering. All right, let's see what we got in here. We'll put this down somewhere where we won't forget it. Like in the car. Random prop rod that doesn't go to this car. We got some oil. We imagine they were using that to keep the thing going down the road. More of the little CO2 detectors, filter for something, I don't know. More gloves, lots of gloves. And we have a super blower vac. I don't know if it works, so we can go plug it in and find out. Maybe that's what the filter's for. We have an attachment for our super blower vac. So check that out, see if it works. We have a spare. More gloves, more of these little testy things. Something glued this together. Yep, we got a spare. Has it ever been on the car? Yeah, it's been on the car before. Got a jack and all that good stuff too. All right, I don't get that stuff on cars with 10,000 miles on them. That looks like all of our goodies in here. More of these little CO2 tests. Boy, I'm gonna be safe between CO2 tests and gloves. All right, that's good enough. Too bad I didn't find a bungee cord to hold that down. I think that's it. Time to start getting this thing apart, the reason we bought it. Okay, I know you're all in suspense. Let's find out. Well, now I know why they left it. It doesn't work. Okay, in the pile. So it's got a few miles on it, and it's got all the typical Grand Am issues. The peeling dash, the broken window regulators, the radio display that doesn't light up. But there's one thing that it doesn't have, and that's a broken two-way power driver's seat with 348,407 miles. Must have been one owner that just got in here and put it where he wanted it and drove it forever, because it's amazing. So let's get it taken apart so we can go back inside where it's warm, because Scott's outdoor garage is getting a little chilly right now. Well, that's better. Turned up the heat a little bit. Put on our jacket and our hat. So we need to pull the front bumper, the headlight mounting panel, the bumper reinforcement, and this fender off of here for another job that we have. So let's get that off. Shouldn't take too long. I might know a guy that knows how to do this. So let's get it apart. Somebody's been here before. If you're new here and haven't heard one of my rants, that closeout panel goes underneath the bumper cover. Maybe in a future video I'll show you why. We're just gonna pull out our push pins, the few that are still remaining, because, well, 348,000 miles, somebody's probably had that off before to change some headlight bulbs or something else. And if we're being honest, those little plastic clips break pretty easily. So we can't really blame the people that took it apart if they broke. And let's be honest, not everybody has access to a Grand Am Emporium should they break those clips. Now we'll lift up our headlight retaining clips, little metal clips. The inner ones always seem to pop out of there, even though they're supposed to stay in just like the outer ones. But whatever. Of course, the collar for the headlight bulb is broken. That comes like that from the factory. Pop all the rest of our bulbs out of here. And this gasket does not want to stay on the socket. We're going to put it back on there because we might need it later. Pretty clear for an OEM headlight. I'm going to pop our other headlight out of here. And they didn't even put a broken collar back on this one. No collar at all. And plug the rest of our light. This one is an OEM light as well, and still pretty clear. We're going to unbolt our headlight mounting panel from our radiator support. Not that we're actually going to be able to take it out of there, but the bolts are easy to get to. We can go ahead and pull our wheel off of here because it's going to be in our way. We'll pull the center cap off, and it's amazing those little plastic caps aren't, totally stripped out and destroyed. Before we pull our wheel all the way off, we'll give it a shake, and yep, we got some more suspension parts, but what else would we expect? And since we have a missing lug nut, I guess we found out where those wheel locks in the back seat came from. We can go ahead and pull our wheel liner out of here. There's a couple Christmas tree clips that go into the bumper. Pop those out of there. A couple screws across the bottom. One screw that holds our two liners together. And there's a Christmas tree that I just ripped out of there. We'll pull our rocker molding clips out of here. It also holds our wheel liner in the back half of our fender. A couple more Christmas tree clips. And one 7mm screw. Just for variety. There's one more clip up there. We'll just tear out of there. GM had a surplus of hood insulation clips, so they put it on this little piece of insulation inside the fender. Now we can unbolt our fender from our bumper cover. There's 3 bolts across the bottom there. There's a couple little push pins underneath the bumper here. Go into the reinforcement. If anyone's replaced that bumper cover, those usually don't make it back in there. Now we're going to pull our front liner out of our driver's side, pretty much the same way as the passenger side, except we're not taking the tire off. And we found a little triangle of wood. I have no idea what that's there for. It's not OEM. But with 350,000 miles, somebody's definitely been here before. Got a fog light that's just dangling here. Matches the other side that's also dangling. Our bumper cover is off. Set that off to the side. Go ahead and unbolt our headlight mounting panel and our frame rail. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, but on this side, GM decided to put the horns in the way, so we have to unbolt our horn assembly, which, well, up by us, they rarely work. So we're going to save those because we'll probably end up using them. And once we get the horns out of the way, we can unbolt our headlight mounting panel. Now our headlight mounting panel is kind of free, but we need to take the wiring harness off of there. And once upon a time, I used to use a pair of needle nose to squeeze these little clips together. But then I learned that a socket, I think it is a 5mm, works great. You just kind of put it on the end of a nut driver, slide it over the part that sticks through on those clips. It releases the tabs and they pop right out of there. And here's a close-up of how that works. Just kind of put it on there and twist it a little bit, and the wiring harness pops right out. This one has a Christmas tree style, so we'll just pull that out of there. A little more on the inside. And one more from the bottom. All the same ones on the other side. And our headlight mounting panel is out of there. It is an OEM panel, which is much better than the aftermarkets. Things fit better. Now we can work on getting our fender off of here. We'll slide our putty knife in here, break that two-sided tape loose for our rocker molding. There's one clip on the back, so we'll just slide it off of there, leave the clip in the fender. It's a lot easier than trying to squeeze those tabs. We'll unbolt the bottom of our fender because, well, it's a North Carolina vehicle, so it still has the bottom of the fender. There's one bracket in the middle, bracket underneath in the front, a couple across the top. We'll open up our door. There's one hidden in here. And there's two bolts at the back of the fender that are multi-purpose. They also hold our hood hinge in, which is riveted to the fender from the factory. So we'll see if somebody's been here before. Got our bolts out. And we got the front one all the way out. Rear one. Alright, it's out of there. And since our hood hinge is still riveted to the fender, I'm happy to say nobody has been here before. Basically, wiggle it apart. Then we'll put the bolts back in our hood hinge so our hood doesn't fall on the ground. Because, well, it doesn't have any damage, so we might use it later. And we'll bolt it back in there. We don't need the hood hinge, we only need the fender. And our fender is off. We're going to be careful not to scratch it because it happens to be the right color. Cursed red. Now we can go ahead and throw our wheel back on here so we can drive this thing around. And yes, safety experts, I did have it sitting on a jack stand. So, erase your comments. My impact identifies as a torque wrench, so yes, those were torqued to spec. And we'll throw our center cap on here so we don't lose it. I know where it's at. So we got all of our parts off of our little Grand Am. It's time to take it down to Scott's Grand Am Emporium. But before we do that, we got to put another car on the trailer. It's hard to see this G8 sitting out here in the cold and the snow. So unfortunately, it's going to have to go on to better places. So we're going to throw that on the trailer and let it go on to its new home. So let's do that, and then we can haul this down to Scott's Grand Am Emporium where it can sit outside because, well, no one cares.